Why would I not acquire HBAR? It's such a no-brainer pick for me, and reaching the price of $3 during this bull run, that right there wouldn't surprise me at all, even though that's not financial advice nor a guarantee. But here's the thing. The other day I was talking about Hedera, I was talking about, HBAR, how amazing it is, and also ICP, right? But even besides that point, my friend was like, okay, dude, why do you even believe in cryptocurrencies, man? It's caca. Warren Buffett doesn't even like it. Well, my response is, caralho, porra. I mean, come on, right? Even though nothing I say is financial advice, the way I take a look at it is that, here's the thing. Warren Buffett, back in 2012, I believe, right, invested in newspapers. Even I know that's a bad idea. I mean, come on. Just imagine that, right? Like, think about this. I wouldn't really, focus on what people did like back then, because keep in mind, S&P 500, okay, I get it. Newspapers, I think that's kind of cacta at this point, for me to invest in at least. Gold, I mean, caralho, come on, man. This is the real deal, because just imagine this, hypothetically, right? HBAR, if it were to go to the price of $3, right, it's actually not that bad. It's still around a 9x from here. Now, this isn't the best upside, but when you consider how much HBAR has pumped, much like I predicted, by the way, this doesn't seem that crazy, at least in my opinion. Now, as well, right, when I take a look at S&P 500, all this, I just think it's very boring because, if I was born maybe 90 years ago or something like that, I'd understand why I'd do that. But then as of right now, I'm trying to look for the next big thing, so to speak, right? Back then, of course, cryptocurrencies didn't exist, which is why I really do believe in HBAR, because I think that its room for growth is really amazing. Even if, let's say, HBAR goes to the price of like $1.50, which at that point, $3 is just like a 2x away, right? Let's say it does do that. Will I still be acquiring HBAR? Absolutely. Now, the reason for that is because that's a 2x. Now, it's not the greatest. I get that. But then instead of me putting it in like a bank account where it does basically nothing, I'd much rather put it, towards HBAR where it could do 2x instead of having it like quite essentially being eaten alive by inflation in a sense. So that's why I do really like, the world of cryptocurrencies, even though I'm not telling anyone to do anything, but that's why I like HBAR so much. Now, why is Hedera Hashgraph so amazing? Because we see many layer 1 blockchains out there, right? And they're on a league of their own. You also take a look at something like Caspa, which is a block DAG. I'm very bullish on that. But then when you take a look at Hedera, it's pretty much on its own class. Take a look at how it's like, a directed acyclic graph, Hedera Hashgraph, right? This is how amazing it is. Sure, there's blockchains out there, there's a block DAG, but this one just seems very unique, very interesting. And even though some people may argue that, okay, the advantages that a directed acyclic graph over like traditional blockchain technology, it doesn't warrant enough like advantages for it to have mass adoption in the future. Well, I do believe that when it comes to, that statement's actually not entirely true, because a directed acyclic graph is typically a lot faster, a lot more scalable, has improved data storage. But even if, let's say, someone says, okay, yeah, those marginal benefits are not enough. My argument is this as well. Do many of the projects that they talk about, do they have a governing council that is as great as Hedera? I just don't think so, arguably, because when you have a governing council that includes Google, by the way, and yes, I'm talking about Google. Of course, we're using YouTube. We all know that. Take a look at Boeing, like the aviation company, Mondelez. Now, Mondelez, some people may think, okay, what's that, right? Ever heard of Oreo? Ever heard of Cliff? I mean, caralho, porra. I mean, they're the brands of Mondelez, so you could only imagine that. Also, take a look at LG. I mean, we've all pretty much heard about that, right? Also, on top of that, you take a look at Dell Technologies. Who doesn't know that? IBM. I mean, there's currently, allegedly, right, over 35 members on the Hedera Governing Council. So you could only imagine that. And they're giants of their own respective fields. So do you think that something like Hedera could fail? I mean, if let's say Hedera was doing caca, which it clearly isn't, adoption is great. So far, I would say not the best, but then it's still pretty good. If it's like, let's say doing caca in a make-believe scenario, do you think like any of these members of the Governing Council would have a difficult time rescuing Hedera? No, they wouldn't have a difficult time whatsoever. Like let's say $1 billion for like Mondelez, that's like chump change for them. They're like, whatever, they don't care. You know what I mean? So when it comes to Hedera, it just kind of feels like this project that's almost fail-proof in a sense. I'm not saying that it's fail-proof 100% because nothing is. Of course, I understand that. However, this right here is pretty much as close as it gets in my opinion, because if let's say like, something like Arbitrum isn't doing that well, or like Optimism, or let's say something like, Miria, who's going to bail them out? I don't know, right? Maybe they have some strong backings, but this one is like a very strong, foundation, in my opinion, right? The governing council is very fantastic. So it has that great support. At least that's the way to take a look at it. The way I view it is that when it comes to Hedera, it just kind of feels like this project that's going to be around for the long haul. And I really can't wait, because even as of right now in the short term, I think HBAR could do so amazing, because I think more and more people are understanding that when it comes to Hedera Hashgraph, this is so unique, this is so interesting. And we've seen this recipe work time and time again. An amazing, fundamentally sound project, which Hedera is, with great exposure, which HBAR has, not to mention, with a community that is very passionate, which Hedera again has. These three factors we've seen time and time again work so well for many projects out there. Take a look at Solana. Take a look at what it did for BNB, Ethereum, Cardano, Avalanche, Algorand, right? So I don't know why Hedera won't be the next one in the sense, right? I don't know why it won't be the next big thing. Now, keep in mind, 2024, in my opinion, I think it's just a small taste of what's to come, because 2025, I think that is the real McCoy. I think that's when times will truly shine. And when you think about it, even reaching the price of $3, considering current circulating supply, market cap would be around $115 billion. I mean, come on, right? If Ethereum can reach over 550 billion, BNB can't reach slightly over 100 billion. I mean, it just seems like kind of like comical in a sense, like, wow, it's actually not even that difficult to achieve hypothetically. At least that's the way to take a look at it. I mean, when you have over 500 million crypto owners, I think this sport is going to be no joke. I think it's going to be so amazing, but it's only a time will tell type of scenario. So far, I've been correct, absolutely right, 100%. Caralho porra when it comes to HBAR, but I think better days are ahead. Now, here's the thing as well. Even the co-founder of Ethereum and the founder of Cardano, Charles Hoskinson, he said he could very well see Bitcoin reaching all the way up to $500,000, anywhere between a year to 2 years from around November 26th. So a year to 2 years from then, he could very well see, as a most bullish case scenario, Bitcoin reaching $500,000. Now, let's say that's a little bit too optimistic, but even still, he's in the crypto space. He understands this. He's like a person that has actual credibility. So when he says something like that, I think it really matters a lot, and it showcases just how massive Bitcoin could be during this bull run. And of course, that could hypothetically bring HBAR along with the ride, much like other altcoins as well. At least that's the way to take a look at it. So when it comes to HBAR, I'm not giving up. If Bitcoin were to, let's say, reach $500,000, could you imagine what would happen to HBAR? At that point, $3 would seem like actually a little bit bearish, to be honest. But I'm still going to stand by that, because I've been saying it throughout this whole time, and I still do believe in that. But maybe it could do better. Who knows? You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, really, Charles Hoskinson, he doesn't have a magic crystal ball to tell the future. Neither do I. We're both just speculating. But still, if let's say Bitcoin does a lot better, which hypothetically all signs are showcasing, it is doing a lot better, and it's going to be heading hypothetically in such a positive direction. I don't see why HBAR won't go along as well, but only time will tell. But more specifically, during this bull run, $3 wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. And make sure to subscribe if you gain value from this video. I greatly appreciate it. It's Malik the Captain, and I'll catch you all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.